Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. We begin the news with the ambush that left 2 people dead in northeast Nigeria. A police officer and a driver were killed after suspected Boko Haram militants ambushed a police convoy in Maiduguri, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. The incident occurred on Tuesday evening. Police authorities in the state say 6 officers were also injured in that attack, while 11 remain missing. The United Nations says it is concerned by the number of Nigerian refugees returning from Cameroon to Banki, a border town hit by Boko Haram violence. UN Refugee Chief Filippo Grandi says the town is already struggling with overstretched supplies and services. The Nigerian military recaptured Banki in September 2015 after fierce battles with Islamist militants, whose insurgency has killed at least 20,000 in Nigeria alone since 2009. On June 1st, UNHCR said that more than 12,000 refugees had returned to the area in May alone. Nigeria's acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, is asking northern traditional rulers to always speak up against hate speeches and inciting comment. Professor Osinbajo met with the traditional rulers from northern Nigeria hours after he also met with leaders of the southeast region. The meetings follow a recent quit notice given to Igbos in the north by Arewa youths in reaction to continued agitation for secession by groups in the southeast. Meanwhile, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has vowed to arrest and prosecute the Arewa youths that issued a quit notice to Igbos in the north. The governor said this while receiving the Igbo Delegate Assembly and Igbo chiefs in the northern states at the Kaduna Government House. El-Rufai also reassured Igbos living in the state of their safety. Outspoken Senator Dino Malaya risks losing his seat at the Nigerian Senate. A group in Kogi West Senatorial Zone, where he represents, has submitted signatures of registered voters to INEC demanding his recall from the Nigerian Senate. The Independent National Electoral Commission says it received the signatures contained in 6 bags on Wednesday in Abuja. And inside those bags, the signatures of 52.3% of the electorates from the zone and other petitions are contained. This is definitely not a good sign for Senator Malaya, as INEC only needs at least 50% of the registered voters to begin a recall process.
Dino Malaya remains an undistinguished senator until all Kogi West senatorial districts are distinguished. We have no impasse as I'm talking to you right now. In Kogi West senatorial districts that we used to have, each of our representatives, they used to have an office across all the local government of the senatorial districts. In all these offices, Dino Malaya has no office. This is 2 years. Dino Malaya has no constituency office in Kogi West senatorial district. How do we ask him for accountability? How do we table our petition? We want to call him back to Ayetoro, where he comes from, Nejomo, and we are ready in numbers of multitude. We will go to Jamata Bridge to welcome our prodigal son back home. We don't want him any longer. Enough is enough. It is Buhari to tsunami that brought him to where he is. It was as a senator.
What we have, if we have not met the 51 or 52%, that is when we will be lobbying or we'll be begging any institution. Since there is a lay-down procedure, we have come to present the petition along with those signatures that were collected. It is now left for INEC to embark on the verification, after which, when duly confirmed and ratified, the Kogi West people will be preparing and waiting for a day when the referendum is going to be conducted, so that the world, Nigeria, can know whether Senator Dino Malaya is actually representing the people well or not. The people will come out to vote either yes or no. And what the constitution says is, if the yes is more than the no, it's also on the basis of simple majority. If the number of votes is high, yes is more than no, then Senator Dino Malaya stands recalled. It requires INEC now to transmit a letter to the National Assembly
More on our top stories. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the remand of 5 men accused of abducting some pupils and staff of Niger Tulip International College, Isheri, Ogun State. The federal government arraigned the defendants on 5 counts bordering on involvement in the acts of hostage-taking, receiving ransom, and acts of terrorism. The crime carries life sentence under the Terrorism Prevention Act 2013.
I would say they reviewed because they were all in possession of their own copies of the charges in court. They brought the charges to court. In fact, they acknowledged receiving the copies of the charges. They signed a proof of service for us. They've long been served with a copy of the charges, so it is left for them to communicate with their family, and they have access to who. If they say they want representative, their family members to get lawyers for them, they are free. So it depends. Maybe they are not making the request, but if after arraignment, I'm sure their family will get in touch with them and get them lawyers that will represent.
Nigeria's Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udoma, has been given a breakdown of the 2017 budget. The 7.44 trillion naira budget was signed into law just last week by acting President Yemi Osinbajo. It's expected to run concurrently until May 2018. It's now over a week since acting President Yemi Osinbajo signed the 2017 budget into law. The country is currently in a recession, though the government has repeatedly insisted that this budget will help improve the economy. At this gathering, the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udoma, is explaining the essence of the budget and how it would be implemented.
The budget reflects our fiscal plan to restore the economy to the path of sustainable, inclusive, and diversified growth. These are goals which were set out clearly in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. In the months ahead, we will work with the National Assembly to ensure that Nigeria returns to the predictable January to December fiscal year, so that to make planning for everybody much easier.
Before he goes into the details of the new budget, the minister takes a quick recap of the 2016 budget and its overall performance.
2016 was a very, very challenged year, very challenged. And we only managed to realize 76% of our revenue targets. And this was actually principally because of the foreign exchange shortages that we had. Because foreign exchange drives the whole economy. Once foreign exchange receipts go down, customs receipts go down. Companies do not do as well. So companies' income tax also goes down. The government agencies don't do as well. And so independent revenue also. In terms of expenditure, which is on the next slide, the highlight of it is that notwithstanding the fact that we only got 76% of revenues, we managed to spend an unprecedented amount of money on capital, 1.2 trillion. And this is because it is the capital spend that gets the economy going again.
Despite the mixed performance of the 2016 budget, the minister is positive that the 2017 budget will perform much better. He explains how the government intends to fund the budget and its expectation for the economy.
One thing that we, as an administration, were determined to do was to reverse the direction of movement of the Nigerian economy. And I can assure you that we have, because the performance of the first quarter shows that we're now moving back towards growth. I did mention about the foreign exchange scarcity and the high unemployment. So our approach to the 2017 budget was to make sure that we had a targeted budget aimed at stopping, reversing the slide of the economy and moving us back on the path of growth. As we indicated in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, our objectives are: 1, to restore and sustain growth, to invest in our people, and to build a globally competitive economy. And 11% of the projected revenue is expected from recoveries of looted, misappropriated funds and fines. People keep on asking, the money that you recover, what are you using it for? We're using it to fund the budget. We're using it to fund infrastructure, to fund the roads, to fund the rail, and so on. So it is an element of the budget revenue projection.
The 7.44 trillion naira budget has been tagged the budget of recovery and growth. For now, the government has earmarked 350 billion naira for capital expenditure. Nigerians can only hope the positive expectations yield positive results.
Nigeria's electoral body INEC hopes to introduce another innovation towards ensuring free and fair elections in the country. INEC Chairman Yakubu Mahmood revealed this during a meeting with the Registrar of the Computer Professionals Registration Council of Nigeria in Abuja, the nation's capital. One innovation INEC intends to explore is a new platform for electronic collation and transmission of results. INEC says this would help correct irregularities that have trailed the country's electoral processes in the past.
Something happened in 2015 in our elections with the increasing deployment of technology. This commission is committed to further deepening the deployment of technology. And we very heartily welcome this discussion with the apex body for the regulation of computer professional practice in Nigeria. And whatever you require of the commission that we can do within the law, I want to assure you that we shall do so. We'll partner with you. We'll cooperate with the Computer Professional Registration Council of Nigeria. And in any way you think you can advise the commission on a number of issues, the deployment of ICT, not only in elections, but in the processes that lead to elections, particularly the ongoing continuous voter registration exercise, will be a welcome development. And we look forward to your suggestions and collaborating with you in many other areas. We are pioneering, and we hope to deploy in the 2019 general elections a new platform for electronic collation and transmission of results.
The Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council has denied reports Christian religious knowledge has been removed as a subject of study from the curriculum of public secondary schools. It also refuted claims that Islamic religious knowledge has been reintroduced into the curriculum. In a statement, NERD-C says the claims peddled on social media platforms are, to say the least, speculative, false, and unfounded. It added the curriculum remains the same and hasn't changed. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB has fixed Saturday, July 1st to conduct supplementary examination for 85,000 candidates. The examination for candidates who registered late and those with related issues will be spread across some computer-based testing centers in the country. The board noted that candidates not listed for the supplementary examination would not be communicated. Another batch of 175 Nigerians have voluntarily returned from Libya. The returnees were made up of 34 males, 122 females, 10 children and 9 infants. They were brought back by the International Organization for Migration and the Nigerian Embassy in Libya.
Corruption not in my country. That was a very good business.
Yeah.
The furniture you brought was very perfect.
That's how we roll.
Let me do you receipts.
Yeah. How much was it again?
1 million naira.
Okay, write 2.5.
Mbano. The deal was for 1 million naira now.
Okay, write 3 million. I'll give you 500.
Oh no, I doesn't do business like that now. Yeah.
In that case, give me back my check. Let me go and look for someone that understand business.
Take.
Your loss.
It is only for incorruptible customers. What are you talking?
I get that.
What kind of this?
You will just die.
No,
you will die.
That is the door. Now get out from here.
Rubbish.
Look, my people. Make not really add money for original invoice price. That's not corruption. Say no. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Up next, we have business news with Fidelia Aguncha.
Thank you, Thelma. The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has assured Etisalat Nigeria subscribers of continued service integrity. The assurance comes barely 24 hours after a consortium of banks led by Access Bank took over the network. NCC in a statement said it has taken proactive steps to cushion the impact of the takeover on its customers. The Communications Commission and the Central Bank of Nigeria have stepped in to help resolve the debt crisis. The Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, MOMAN, has appealed to the federal government to pay the fuel subsidy claims owed to its members. Earlier this week, some oil marketers had appealed to the federal government to pay their outstanding debt of 720 billion naira owed on the importation of petroleum products and the accrued interest on bank loans. The body says the repayment of the accumulated subsidy claims would salvage the banks from total collapse over the huge debt owed them by marketers and would also avert the scarcity of petroleum products in the country. A renewed slump in oil prices to 7-month lows dragged down world stocks on Wednesday and flattened bond curves as bets that inflation and interest rates will stay low for even longer began to build again. Signs of a growing glut supply sent Brent crude futures skidding back to $45.50 a barrel as European trading gathered momentum. The recent setback for crude and commodity prices is partly down to doubt over U.S. President Donald Trump's promised multi-trillion-dollar stimulus program, which had raised hopes of boosted inflation and growth. That's all on business. More stories coming up. Stay tuned.
Corruption not in my country.
Mr. John! Mr. John! What is it now?
What is it now?
Please turn down the volume of your music. It's too loud.
And how is that your business?
It is disturbing me. I can't sleep.
And the same way you are disturbing my right to good music and where I enjoy it. Eh? What's wrong with you? Is there another person complaining?
Maybe we thought that you have lost your mind. Are you having a party?
I'm just respecting you, sir. You remember I paid my husband too.
You will not understand why we are complaining because you do not care about other people except yourself. Look, the transformation we need in this country begins in this compound.
Yes, now.
From you, and I. This your selfishness is an offshoot of corruption. And corruption not in my country. We know. Go to your bank. Go.
Corruption not in my country.
At least 100 people have died in fighting in the Central African Republic. This comes a day after a ceasefire was signed between rebels and the government. Mayor of the town of Brea, northeast of the capital Bangui, said bodies were lying in the streets after the incident. The truce signed in Rome on Monday included an immediate ceasefire. It was intended to bring armed groups into the political process in exchange for ending attacks. South Sudan is no longer classified as being in famine. A new UN-backed report revealed this, noting that 45,000 people in Jonglei and Unity States still remain in famine-like conditions, and the situation is still critical. The Integrated Food Security Phase Classification Report was based on a survey by a working group including government and UN officials. A famine was declared in the country in February this year. Nigeria's football world awoke to news of the shocking death of Kelechi Emetole. The former assistant coach of Nigeria's senior national team died early Wednesday in a hospital in India. Before his death, Emetole was receiving treatment for throat cancer. He was only 66 years old. The former Rangers and Heartland coach was also a former Nigerian international, winning 19 caps for the national team. Nigeria's Football Federation has denied interfering in the team selection of Super Eagles coach Electoral. The German has been under intense scrutiny following the Eagles' shocking 2-0 loss to South Africa in its opening 2019 African Cup of Nations qualifiers. Now, following the defeat, NFF's technical committee held a meeting with Sports Minister Solomon Dalong to determine the cause of the defeat. Football governing body FIFA has declared Manchester United of any wrongdoing in the world record transfer of Paul Pogba from Juventus. However, the governing body has now opened an inquiry into Juventus' role in the transfer. The initial inquiry was opened after reports in Germany via Football League revealed details of the transfer and his contract agreement with United. The transfer fee is a record £89 million. Well, that's all we have on news now. Thanks for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.